Hey. Howdy Foo here, and today we're going to be discussing the newest patch 2.35. Before we get into it, I'm going to note that this patch doesn't even really work. The lobbies are all broken, it's 4v6, so...
Yeah, any further things we say about this patch are purely theoretical, although I'm sure that once this does get fixed, then we'll be seeing the results of the balance changes later on. But this is a pretty major bug right here, so...
Yep, so everything we say still applies, just not practically. It's philosophically applies, because that's the perfect word to use for this.
Anyone on the channel, or anyone who watches this video and thinks I could take all these 4 noobs on, please like the video.
I'm down, let's go. Anyways, now let's talk about the patch.
Yes, we are not very happy with this one once again.
Yeah, well, actually, I was relatively happy with the last one. There are a few things that, you know, we didn't agree with, like Terran dropships were lols, and, you know, a few other things, and some of those have been reverted, but some really amazing things have been reverted, or specifically one.
Yeah.
Let's start this off with the obvious. Increase the cost of stat upgrades from 200 to 225.
Okay, also the casters were weak. I guess it's technically a buff to them since stat ups benefit combat heroes more than casters, so making it 25 minerals is technically a step in the right direction, but it's pretty much negligible.
Well, okay. And here's the big thing. Stat bonuses now give plus 1% spell effectiveness, energy, and energy regen instead of plus 2% spell effectiveness. Well, let's go over the many ways in which I utterly hate this. Well, first of all, let's explain the reasoning behind it. Apparently, casters are able to use all of this extra energy, and you can just consider any energy that a caster has as damage. What this doesn't take into account is that casters have cooldowns, and auto-attack heroes do not. Auto-attack heroes can rape you while you sit around and wait for 12 seconds for your next cooldown to come off. So, you know, what 2% spell scaling did was at least allow you to do heavy burst damage so you could have a decent fight afterwards. But instead, anything less than 2% means the auto attackers still get their 2% while you slowly fall behind. Now, this is still better than what it was before 2.33, but this only makes me madder because 2.34 had it right, and then it went back. And I don't know what's the whole point of that is. Why would you do this? I'll let Foo rant for a little bit. Go ahead, go ahead.
Well, I guess this is technically a good thing because builders were so freaking OP. You know how before in in-houses, this is from the 2% in general stat ups, you know how back in in-houses when everything you did with builders was creep up priority, and then feed your teammate? Well, then with stat ups, you just literally went straight stat ups, and you had like 1,000 HP cannons that did like 100 freaking damage a shot, usually more. So that was pretty ridiculous. So I guess it's good that it was 1%, because that nerfs builders, but it also nerfs casters for no reason. I don't see any reason why builders shouldn't just be completely excluded from it, considering that something like Hardened Shields has individual hero exceptions, where 18% for Archon, Dark Archon, and Immortal, so let's just make builders not affected by stat ups building.
I still don't know if I agree with that, because builders do need the ability to scale. What builders need is to be balanced in the first place, though, and that's something that never really got done. So when these spell scales came through, all people could think about was builders, because, lol, builders with stat-ups are, no surprise, really, really good. 1% stat-ups is still more than they had, and people QQ'd about builders before they got any stat-ups bonus at all, so the 1% is still going to piss people off. So that doesn't really solve the builder issue, and meanwhile it screws casters.
Yeah, I agree with you. That isn't a long-term solution to make it just not apply for builders, but I think it is a short-term solution until builders get a big rebalancing that they so dearly need. But anyway, next, fixed a bug where players could give items to their allies. Apparently this is bugged, but you can no longer feed your teammates. I'm kind of have mixed feelings about this, but it's probably for the better, but this just encourages builders to get stat ups even more.
Well, I mean, at this, who At this point, you really would want to. The reason people fed in the first place, or at least the reason I think it started, is because casters were shit, and casters still will be shit. So you have no real purpose of buying setups for yourself, so you give them to someone else. I remember whenever I played a wave clearer or something like that, I would just give everything to the DZ because lol, I can't do anything.
Well, anyway, next we have Terran changes. Reverted the changes in 2.34 to make dropships and protective shields. First time reading it, yay! And then I read dropship is an ability and protective shields an item again. Reduce the cost of dropship from 60 from 75.
Okay, well,
15 minerals?
yeah, I think we were all expecting a little more than that.
At least 50.
Because I'm going to say, the Zerg mobility is a bit ridiculous compared to this. Zerg can just spend 125 now, we'll get to that, but they buy a Nidus, and they put it in the lane, and they can go back as often as they want. Pokes simply do not matter to Zerg heroes, and to a lesser extent, they don't matter to Protoss heroes. Terran not only has all heroes that don't have natural regen, it also has the worst fast travel. And we were hoping...
Not to mention the travel time, so when you get back, you're guaranteed to lose experience. Like with Nidus, if you do it fast enough, you can pop in and pop out without losing any experience. Warp Gate is almost the same way. Dropship, you're guaranteed to miss a wave. Not to mention you have to pay so much per round trip. Now it's just 85 to 125 instead of 100 to 100 as far as the Nidus Canal to dropship ratio. Personally, I think if it was at 25 minerals, which is where it should sit in my opinion, it would still be the worst transport system in the game. Because all the other ones, you can pop down for a quick getaway instead of a buyback to escape a gank, but not dropship, you can't do that with. And you can only go to your half of the map, which is, again, unlike any other fast transport. So 25 minerals, it's still the worst, but I say that's where it should sit for now.
But it doesn't. It sits at 65. And honestly, I think that some of the ideas that people were coming up with like orbitals giving fast transport and that sort of thing, I thought that was pretty cool, and I thought those would be nice ideas, because then you could drop an orbital as a getaway or something. And it would be expensive, but at the same time, it's reusable, it doesn't take up an item slot. I really don't know why it reverted so much, as he could have just re-implemented it properly, because the taking up the item slot was the huge thing, and then the 350 minerals was also pretty ridiculous, but that could be easily fixed.
Well, to be fair, this is a small patch, a transitional patch, because there are so many things that people were unhappy with, so reverting it isn't a bad move, but hopefully in the future it will be changed to something more on par with other races. I know the races aren't supposed to be identical, but if it was an orbital, that wouldn't be identical, that would just be balanced.
Yeah. Okay,
Okay, also increase the movement speed of dropship by 2, whoop-de-doo-da-day.
I mean, that's...
Siege Tank Hero, I like this. Gains 2 sight while in Siege Mode or anti-mode.
I think I'd use
Why
it.
not?
Siege Tank is still really badass to play. I love it now, but the 2% plus 2 sight, I like it. That's kind of a pain in the ass when you siege and can't see anything, but you know, scan for that. But
Okay,
you know.
my turn. Protoss, none. Zerg, increase the cost of Nidus Canals from 100 to 125, and the duration of spawned broodlings has been reduced by 0.25 seconds. Sorry, I'm getting choked up. I built my whole channel around Nidus and broodlings, and then he nerfed them. And, okay, I'm not really upset about this. Nidus was the best by far. Broodlings are really good, so this is a step in the right direction for balance. I'm upset, but not for anything fair.
Nidus was too good, to be honest. The little mineral increase should help out a little bit. And the spawn boost, I don't think a quarter-second reduction to stun is really going to make much of a difference. It might save a couple heroes, but, you know, it still leaves Zerg. I am kind of concerned about reducing Zerg's stunning anymore, simply because they lack real stun heroes per se. Like, you have Corruptor, and you have Lurker, and you have Queen, and other than that, everything relies on a store-bought pocket stun that only targets ground.
Well, give the credit to Roots. Roots are also a big part of
Zerg, but...
So personally, I think it should be reverted back to 1.5, and Broodling should cost 300 instead. Because the big issue with Broodlings is just you can get them so fast.
Yeah, I could agree with that.
Anyway, the Roach Hero's Corrosive Acid now has an AoE radius of 0.75. I'm not against this. I don't really like it. Because it'll be a little bit harder to aim and kind of annoying. Roach doesn't really need this. But I guess it's a little on the weak side, so...
I don't think it would be... I think it would like work like Secret Missile, where you target an individual unit and it would do a radius around it. I haven't tried it yet, but I imagine it's just like a farming tool. That would be pretty nice. I don't think this will change Roach too much as far as people playing it. I always thought Roach was a decent hero, and it's just so damn boring that I won't play it. So...
Okay, next, the Roach Hero, Explode now deals 75% damage to buildings, down from 80. Okay, that's 3 stat ups.
It's not 3 stat ups, Math Noob. It is more than 3 stat ups in most cases. However, it's still not a big deal. Banelings are still going to blow up buildings. All you're doing by nerfing the explode damage is slowly increasing the duration of the game as far as when Banelings can start ending it. And really...
okay, my turn to rant. Banelings are a ridiculously good hero, and so much of the game, if there's a Zerg involved, revolves around, okay, what do we do about the Banelings? The Banelings are coming. It's like a DA fleet, but harder to kill, and when you kill it, it'll be back in 8 seconds. Here's what I think, and hear me out on this one. Banelings Explode should not damage buildings at all, or maybe like 5% or something. Okay, that sounds really, really extreme, but let me explain it. You have a hero that has 16 base DPS, is super fast, has no respawn time, and has an AoE that does almost as much as Armageddon, and can use rolling attack to cliff hop.
I think
that's a pretty damn good backdoor already, not to mention the easy hero killing and the lane control and map control you get from it already. Why does it need to be so good at backdooring? Without Explode, it would still be a really good backdoor, so that's my opinion.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I mean, I do love Banelings, and since I never backdoor that... Well, I shouldn't say...
Unless I tell him to.
Unless he tells me to, or it's lagging, or I get mad, or, many other different things that could happen very easily. But besides that, I don't backdoor, so that wouldn't really change anything for me.
Okay, and finally fix an issue where heroes would not unload in the direction of the rally point for Nidus Canals. This actually annoyed me sometimes, where you'd put a Nidus Canal down, and it wouldn't be quite in the right spot, and you'd unload from the back no matter what, and get trapped, and the Nidus Canal would be completely unusable. So this is good, like it.
Yeah.
Well, sorry for having such a negative video this patch. We're not fans. But anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please, please, please subscribe if you're watching this. Click like. Show us all your ways to support us. As always, this is Foo. Goodbye.
And this is Zeph. Give me back my Raven.